Hey everybody, it's time for Breakaway Rail Talk number 7, lucky number 7. And we couldn't be luckier than to have Lauren Carlisle, who is one of the top bloodstock agents in the industry. And we'll talk about why in a few minutes. She also owns Black Dog Bloodstock, which, as you know, is the sole sponsor of the very popular Off the Rails. So you can catch that show as well. But Lauren, thank you so much for coming on and spending a little time with us today.
You are welcome. I think a top bloodstock agent's probably a stretch, but I'm flattered you think that. But I don't.
All right, can we just go with top then? Just say one top.
Maybe just one. I don't know. The double top was
all right. Well, the fact that we use you as a bloodstock agent and you don't think you're a top agent, do you have other agents you think we should talk to?
Sure. I'm sure there's a whole list of people that would love to work for you. But no, I don't think too highly of myself.
Well, you're being modest, because one of the reasons why we wanted you on today is because, you know, you've been a bloodstock agent really just for a few years now, although you've been in the industry for decades, it seems like. And you've had some tremendous success over the first few years of picking out some great horses. And what I wanted to do is talk to you a little bit about those horses, but probably equally important, I want to talk to you about the process that you go through when you're at a sale and you're looking at horses. So maybe we'll start with that. You're at the Keeneland September sale, and there's literally 4,000 horses to look at. Yeah. How do you break that down, and what's your process?
Very carefully. So the Keeneland sale is quite an event. It's the largest sale of the year for yearlings. And how I do that is book one, I will complete on my own. Because they give you plenty of time to look at those horses, and there's not as many of them as there are in the later books that on the days they sell. So I'll do that myself, and then I'll bring in help for books 2 and forward. Basically, you split them up in a team. You got to kind of divide and conquer, because you physically can't do the wholesale by yourself. There's just not enough time to look at it. If you want to look at every single horse, which is what I try to do. I don't go through and take out pedigrees before looking at them. I do all shows at every barn. And yeah, pretty much just make a short list, go through it again and again and again until you have a vet list, talk to your clients, and then you get down to a bid list of who you're going to try to buy in the ring. It sounds simple, but it is pretty chaotic, as you know, because I attend that sale and attend other sales. So it's a lot of work. Especially
at the larger sales like that. What would you say, just theoretically, what would you say are the percentage of horses that actually make it on that bid list compared to the ones that you look at? So you look at like 4,000. How many do you think actually make it to the bid list?
Not very many. Well, that's a loaded question, because it depends on how many people I'm shopping for. Okay. If you only have, one buyer in a certain book, you're going to, cater to what they want, how much they want to spend. And it's probably not going to be that many horses. But I will say at the Keeneland sale, you probably have probably the biggest short list of any other sale, because you have to go in knowing that you're going to get outbid more times than not. So you need to have a lot of options. It's really difficult to try to, just put all your eggs in one basket on one horse, or maybe a couple horses. You get outbid, and then you got nothing, left. And so I will say that sale, you have to keep your options open, because there's so many people buying. It's so competitive in certain price ranges that you're going to get outbid. You have to kind of know that. Pretty much that's the theory for every sale, unless you just have, unlimited money to spend. But yeah, I would say, I don't know. You work with me, but I would say on an all show, I probably shortlist, a third of them, maybe, it's probably being generous, but it just depends on the book that you're in and what you're looking for. That's a big part of it.
Right. And people talk about when they're dating, they know within the first 30 seconds whether or not they hit it off with somebody. Is there something similar as far as like you see a horse come out of the barn and within X number of seconds or X minutes that's really one that you're going to lock into?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, the longer you do it, the more what you like in horses. I would say at the yearling sales, I pretty much know within 10 seconds if I like the horse or not.
Wow.
Now,
okay.
That doesn't mean just because when they bring them out to me and my first initial impression is that I like the horse, it doesn't mean they're going to stay on my list. You've got to, you can love them from the side and then they walk and you're like, oh no,
right.
That's not going to work. So, but yeah, I think first impression is important. And like I said, that just comes with looking at thousands of horses. You just pretty much know and know what doesn't work really is more important than knowing what you like. So, right. If you see something, confirmation on a horse that you've just had bad luck with, or isn't going to work out at the racetrack, you pick that up pretty quickly. And especially at the Keeneland sale, I mean, time is everything. Mm-hmm. There's only so much time in the day where people are showing horses. And then when you're balancing, looking at them and then running to the ring to bid, or talking to the vets or talking to your clients, I mean, you have to be quick. You can't take too long or else you're going to get behind. And once you get behind, you can't catch up. Right. Pretty much is how that goes.
Yep. No, I would imagine so. And then you mentioned before, multiple clients. So you've purchased horses for clients, for Mark Casse clients, for Tom Amos clients, for Chad Brown's clients. Are there certain attributes that those specific trainers want that are different, or do you feel like the top trainers all want very similar looking kind of horses?
No, I think there's definitely differences, and I kind of see more of that at the 2-year-old sales than I do the yearling sales, which is 2-year-old sales are completely different. But I'd say pedigree probably mostly with trainers. I mean, every trainer wants a horse that conformationally looks good and walks well and looks like an athlete. I think kind of pedigree is what boils down to, what people are like, no, I don't want turf, or I don't want certain stallions or whatever the case might be. But I think every trainer, and it's important to have the trainers look at the horses, and because if you're representing a client that is sending the horse to them, you want the trainer to be excited about getting that horse. You don't want to buy them something they're like, I didn't really even like that horse. You're like, okay, right. Well, I'd rather them be happy about it and excited to receive the horse than otherwise. So.
Right. No, I think that's a really good point. And you're talking about pedigrees and how you don't look at the pedigrees to help influence, whether or not you like the athlete or not. And a perfect example is, 3 or 4 of the horses that we're going to talk about, are by Majestic Perfection, Cloud Computing, Hard Spun, and Into Mischief, all over the board as far as, price and types of stallions and what they're looking for. But interestingly enough, out of all 4 of those examples, the common denominator, Lauren, I don't even know if you realize this, the common denominator is all 4 of these fillies we're going to talk about, or these horses we're going to talk about, won first time out. So what do you attribute that to? Because that just can't be the trainer. That's got to be something that you're looking for in the athletes.
Good luck. Yeah. Definitely good luck. Horses winning first time out, that is the trainer doing a great job, and all the credit needs to go to them and the barn that gets the horse ready. It's extremely difficult to have a horse win first time out. A lot of things can go wrong. I mean, that filly race on Friday, I mean, that was a perfect example of all first time out things that can go the other way. So, winning first time out is great for the horse. But that's all on the trainer. I can't attribute that to anything that I do.
Right. So it's not a matter of like, you're looking for horses that maybe are a little bit stronger behind because that's going to give them the push to come out of the gate necessarily? Or is that kind of what you're looking for? Like, maybe I should rephrase the question. What attribute physically are you looking at that draws your eye immediately? Is it the horse's, front legs? Is it the horse's angles? Is it the way the neck ties in? Is it the walk? What do you look for that is your kind of like your golden rule? The horse has to have this before I get to the next level.
It depends on where you're buying them. 2-year-old sales are different than the yearling sales. So I know a couple of the ones you're mentioning are 2-year-old sales, which is just a whole different animal than the yearlings. But there is, to answer your question, there's not one thing that I look at that a horse just has to have. I mean, horses are like humans. They're all different shapes, sizes, tall, not as tall. I mean, they all have different angles to them. And a lot of that
big heads, small heads.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like the big heads, but, and a lot of that is the way they're bred, so you have to be sensitive to that, because if you look at a horse and they look the way that they're bred, I mean, that's on the breeding. I'm not explaining it right, but basically, like, if a horse kind of maybe has a shorter neck than you'd like, and you're like, well, that's because the stallion probably has a shorter neck, or that's what the stallion throws, or the cross might be like that, and you have to be forgiving to that. And so, but no, there's not one thing that I'm like, okay, they don't have that, so they're off. Like, no, I don't. I don't do it that way.
I remember Joe Taylor telling me, years and years and years ago, Daddy Joe, Papa Joe.
Yeah.
Papa Joe. Yeah. You breed a potato to a potatato, you get a potato. And
exactly.
I was like, wait, what? And then it finally dawned on me. All right, now I understand what he's talking about. Like, yeah, like you said, if you breed a horse with a short neck to a mare with a short neck, then you can't discount it because if the foal has a short neck. So I finally understood that rather cryptic, straightforward.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can't fault a horse for the way they were bred. So,
right.
And I try to be sensitive to that when I look at them, for sure.
Right. What's your favorite thing to do or what's your favorite sale to shortlist at?
Ooh, well, I love the 2-year-old sales, because those require, how do I put this? But your short list is a lot more proprietary at a 2-year-old sale, in my opinion, than it is at a yearling sale. Because you're sitting, I go to the breeze show and I attend that and I clock the horses myself. And I'm creating a short list off of how I personally thought the horse breezed. Not just because they went, 10 flat or a certain time. I don't shortlist every horse that goes a certain time.
Right.
So that is my strict opinion. And when you're right on that opinion, it's a lot more fulfilling, I think, than picking them out as a yearling, because, the expensive yearlings are pretty much obvious. They're by a big stallion,
right.
They look good, have a great walk and everything. Like, a lot of people can see that. And the 2-year-old sales are just, you have to understand the way they're trained, how to watch them breeze, how to look at them at the barn after they've breezed, all sorts of things like that. So I enjoy the work at the 2-year-old sales more than the yearling sales.
Plus, you get to be out in the sun, which doesn't stink, right?
Yeah, well, it's great the first couple of days, and then you're cursing it at the end of the trip, especially in April when the breeze show is 7 days long.
Right.
And you're sitting there, like, I don't sit on the front side, so I sit at the 3/4 pole, just direct sunlight for the entire day, sitting there clocking horses. So.
Right. So you have like a zinc oxide in your budget when you tell people how much you charge, it's like, well, it's this percentage plus I need $100 a day for suntan lotion.
I don't charge expenses to my clients, so maybe I should though.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should.
I think I need some sunscreen allowance, but yeah, no, it is a lot. You and it's rain or shine. Like, if it's raining, you're just sitting there,
right, getting drenched.
Yeah, until they stop the show, pretty much.
Right. This Breakaway Rail Talk is brought to you by Arion Pedigrees. That's arion.co.nz. What is Arion Pedigrees? I'm glad you asked, Lauren. Arion Pedigrees is Australia and New Zealand's leading thoroughbred pedigree provider. I personally use it for theoretical matings. I've used it for catalog pages, not only for overseas horses, but here in the States as well, just to get an idea of what it would look like. And interestingly enough, they sent me a really neat tidbit with the Gun Runner colt winning the Risen Star over the weekend. Lauren, did you know that there have been 8 Gun Runners foaled out of Malibu Moon mares, and 4 of them are graded stake winners already? No. That's a remarkable.
Nick, don't you think? That. No, I didn't know that. That's amazing, actually.
Yeah, so even I could figure out that was 50% graded stake winners just from that mating. And I learned that from working with Arion Pedigrees. Arion.co.nz, the place to go when you need a pedigree fast. So again, for the audience, this is Lauren Carlisle from Black Dog Bloodstock that we're interviewing today, who I consider a top bloodstock agent. She doesn't consider herself a top bloodstock agent, but we'll get into that a little bit later on as to why she doesn't think that she's in the upper echelon after picking out horses like Long Weekend and Hoosier Philly and Lady Beth and I'm Very Busy, just to name a few. You mentioned before about you prefer the 2-year-old sales. What is it like to sign a ticket for $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 for a 2-year-old? And have you spent more than that on a 2-year-old?
Yes, I have, unfortunately. No, how is it like? Well, buying any horse is thrilling. I still get nervous before, I bid on a horse, just the live auction aspect of it. It's hard. I don't know how other people feel, but it's an adrenaline rush. And the other thing is it's a lot of pressure. I personally feel spending other people's money, and a lot of money. I mean, a lot of times, I'm bidding on amounts of money that I'll probably never see in my life. And that's just a thing to wrap your head around. Right. And these people, it matters to me if it doesn't go well and they lose. I mean, nobody likes to lose money. So, right. It's nerve-wracking, but the more you do it, as far as the bidding process, I used to get extremely nervous before I'd go bid. And now I'm better because I'm more confident in knowing how to control the spotter in front of me and stuff like that. And, but anyway, it's nerve wracking. No matter how long you do it, it's always going to be scary.
Do you have like hand signals or like facial signals once you get?
Not really. I usually try to use the same spotters, mostly because they'll know to look for me if I'm standing there. I mean, right. I am not above just screaming, which I have done. If you're trying to get a bid in and they're not looking at you, and right. If they drop the hammer, then you can't miss it, right? So I'll just start yelling and stuff. But I don't really have certain signals. But the people that I bid with know, I don't sit in the auction ring. I don't like sitting in there. So I'll walk in a couple horses before, or I'll walk in as the horse is going in there. And if I make eye contact with them, they know that I'm probably going to bid soon. Right. So
got it. Okay. And when you start to get to bid on horses at $1 million, what's that like?
Scary. You feel like your stomach's going to fall out your butt. Yeah, I mean, it's like a mix between wanting to throw up and, I don't know, maybe just wanting to throw up, but it's scary. I can tell you it's scary. Right. It's scary. It's a lot of, once you get into that area of buying horses, the pressure is extremely high. Right. And for a horse to make that money back, as you know, it's extremely hard, to get that back in purse money, you know, because buying them for $1 million is just where it starts, right? I mean, then the bills start, you got training and veterinary stuff and just getting them to the races, you're in, more money than that. So it's hard for horses to overcome that price tag, right. Which is why a lot of people say, the $1 million horses never work out. And they're right. A lot of them don't, but, that's what they cost. If you want to buy them, then at that level, you're going to have to spend that much. So
right.
It's kind of.
Yep. Although we think, I'm going to tell a quick little story to the audience. I'll give you a second to kind of catch your breath. You were looking at horses for us at the September sale all week, and we bought a few horses, and including a Tappet filly for a lot of money and everything. And Lauren called me like maybe book 5, I think it was, and said, I like a horse in this sale, but it's not going to bring a lot of money. Are you still interested? And I said, let's just watch it. So I think the horse RNA'd for $4,000. It was this little Ontario bred filly.
Oh, no, that was in October.
Oh, October. Okay.
It was
October.
Basic, yeah.
Right. And I said to Lauren, well, why don't we go back and at least make an offer to him? So she said, okay, fine. So I said, make an offer of like 2,000-3,000. I don't want to insult them because it probably costs that much to ship the horse from Canada down to Kentucky. So she called me back about 20 minutes later and said, I'm on my way to the office and I got the filly for you. And I said, oh, that's great. And this is why I love working with you. I said, how much did you give him? Did you give him the $3,000? She said, hell no. I got him for $1,600.
Yeah, hell no.
So a month earlier, you were signing a ticket for us for $1 million, and then you saved me $400 or $1,400 to buy this little Danish.
I know, and honestly, because I remember when we did that, and you said, you don't have to sign your name. I said,
right. I didn't want to embarrass you having you sign your name.
I said, I'll absolutely sign my name. I love signing my name on cheaper horses because honestly, those, if that filly wins a race or anything, the pride you feel from that is so high because you're like, yeah, I like this horse and nobody else wanted it but me. And the horse is a winner. So, it's easy to say, okay, the $1 million horse works out. Everybody wanted that one. But it's the horses that don't cost as much that I feel a lot of pride in because, it's like they're up against it maybe on pedigree or whatever. But But yeah, I did squeeze the price down a little bit for you.
And the filly is actually working, against the Tappet filly and the Justified filly. And
yeah, how about that? Going down to the farm in Ocala, and you put the $1 million filly in the same set as the $1,000 horse. I'm like, wait, hold on, how is this fair? That's not fair.
We're not babying her. We're not babying her. She's got to go against the best of the best. Anyway, her name actually is Danish. So for those of you, keeping track at home, when you see Danish running at Woodbine this summer, you will know that that's a direct descendant of one of Lauren's picks, or that is a pick of Lauren's, I should say. Not even
she'll be a female Canadian champion.
We'll see. Yeah, exactly. Little Danish. But were there any of the horses? And again, it doesn't have to be mine. were there any of the horses that you picked out as a yearling or as a 2-year-old that are scheduled to run in 24 that you really are excited to see in the racing form?
Yeah, you like the newly turned 2-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The colt I bought the half brother to Track Phantom, who just ran second and then the Resident Star.
Right.
So that's exciting. So his brother's by Keeneland, and he's in training, doing well. And so hopefully he's got some of the talent that his brother has. That would be nice. Other than that, there's a gun runner filly that I bought in Saratoga that's doing well, and she's very pretty. There's so many. I mean, your horses, I could go down the list because you bought, like 1 million of them.
Not really.
Okay, really. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. You bought like 30. So
yeah, well, it's still, yeah, exactly.
But, I would say that I guess the reason I'm not as confident right now at this stage, it's February, they're not even really doing much. They might be breezing maybe, a furlong or like letting them run out a 16th or something. But it's hard to get excited about them until they actually start moving their legs.
Right. No, exactly. I thought for sure I was teeing it up for you, Lauren. I thought for sure you were going to say Make It in Cheyenne. I thought for sure you were going to say it was Liam's map colt that we bought, that you got the name.
Yeah, I'm biased on him because I got to name him. So
right.
Yeah, I hope he did look good in January.
He did. Liam's map out of Spite's Comet. So it has a little speed with Spitestown on the female side as well. And really, when you look at the horses that we bought, they're all over the page. I mean, they're all over the spectrum as far as expensive and less expensive and really well bred and kind of hard knocking families, which is a testament to what you were saying before about I'm just looking for athletes. I mean, that's really what I'm looking for, through and through. And the pedigrees are really secondary. There aren't a lot, I can tell you from working with other bloodstock agents, that's not necessarily the case. They would rather be able to say, to their client and prospective clients, I bought a Into Mischief, or I bought a, blah, blah, blah. And the physical is kind of secondary to the pedigree. So did you learn that from somebody, or is that just something that innately you've always thought?
Well, I don't. I think a lot of that comes from I started at the racetrack, so I didn't start in this industry being a pedigree person, and I didn't grow up in the industry either. So it's not like I've been following pedigrees my whole life. It's something that I have to actively teach myself because I got into this later on in life. And starting at the racetrack, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at physical. I mean, when you're working in a barn, somebody brings a horse in, it's not like you just know the horse's name. You're like, oh, I don't know that's a Into Mischief out of a, Quality Road mare or something like that. You don't really talk about it like that. So you're looking at horses as they are. And from that, I learned what worked at the racetrack, conformationally. And so I do like looking at physicals first because, pedigree can take you a long way, but if the horse isn't built right and they're not going to sustain themselves, I mean, then it's not really going to help you much.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe for fillies, if it's residual value, that's all you're looking for. But no, I think it's just something I kind of did myself. I guess that's it. I don't know. I don't really know.
No, you're a self-learned pedigree.
I'm thinking about it, but I and that was another thing I really liked working for y'all because I knew that you would support that pretty much. Like, hey, I really like this horse's physical and their walk. Page is trash. Don't look at it. And would you be interested? Because not every client is open to that. And it's, you have to shop that way. You have to either buy volume, kind of like what you did, or have a lower budget where you can't buy a big pedigree, and you have to kind of lean on the physical more. So,
right. Lauren, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. It's always entertaining and enjoyable. And, we only talked about horses. We didn't talk about your bad taste in football teams. We didn't talk about your great taste in music. So if there's anything else personally that you want to put out there, for our listeners to know, just to get to know you a little bit better.
I'm a huge Swiftie. Pre-order now, April 19th, Tortured Poets Department. Yeah, got my friendship bracelets on. As far as
definitely
football is another thing. Yeah. Sadly, I'm a Cowboys fan.
So. Yeah. That's almost as bad as being a Giants fan this decade.
Yeah. I didn't really have a choice. I was born like a mile and a half from the stadium. So,
really?
Yeah. Well, the current stadium, not the one when I was born, but Arlington.
Arlington. All right. Yeah. You were kind of destined to be a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it was great in the 90s.
Sure.
And they were good.
Troy, were you even around in the 90s? How old were you in the 90s when they won the Super Bowl in 94?
Well, I actually think my birth triggered.
Really?
I think that much power triggered how good they became. Yeah. I was born in 1990, and then they win the Super Bowl in 92 and 95.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it was, definitely my birth.
It was all because of you. They were inspired.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
But since then, it hasn't been good.
No. Well, you've turned your attention to horses now. So now the horse industry is gaining the benefit of your participation instead of the Cowboys. I mean, you can only be great in one industry at a time. It's just not, you're not T Swift, but you can pretend to be. But yeah, I think your success here in the horse industry is already building, and it's going to be a really fun career to watch, Lauren, to watch you continue to grow and pick out good horses, hopefully for us, maybe occasionally for other people, but, certainly keep up the good work and the hard work. And if people did want to work with you in the upcoming sales, they can reach out, and you're taking on clients if they fit the right profile. Yeah, no assholes. All right. And that'll bring us to the end of Breakaway Rail Talk. This has been a great show, number 7, a legendary show as far as I'm concerned. And I want to thank Lauren Carlisle from Black Dog Bloodstock. Lauren, I got to tell you, I learned a lot about you, and I've been working with you for a year, and I learned a ton about you just in the past 20 minutes. So thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, it never fails for entertainment.